Oh yeah, and with the spicy dark rum cask, I mean it's insane, and it's a low. It's a very very. We've never added water to any of our products. It's a really low proof batch. It came out at like 105. I mean it's insane. It's like drinking candy. You could drink it all day.
Yeah, we'll have to get a bottle of that when those are done.
Yeah,
or a case, whatever you got laying around.
Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. I am Josh Henning.
I'm Phil Gerber.
I'm Jeremy Gerber.
Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. Today's guest is co-founder and chief barrel officer of Four Gate Whiskey Company, Bob D'Antoni. Yeah, anxious to get into this. What should we start with first, man?
Here's what I was thinking. You guys let me know what you think. We only have one rye. I think I sent you the rye, didn't I?
Yeah, SRW 7-year-old finished in French oak.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the one. Batch
So
27.
let's start with that one because that's the only rye I sent you. I can't even remember the other ones. What are the other ones? I know I said I remember, Josh. I remember you saying, "Hey, we want the most current release," so that's why I sent you Kelvin 60.
Awesome.
The Kelvin 60. I sent you the whole bottle of that, I believe.
Yep, we got it sitting here, ready to rock.
Yeah, perfect. And so that was released about 3 weeks ago. We're just getting the POs in right now for those bottles.
Well, starting with the batch 27 split stave rye, 7-year-old, finished in French oak. Tell us a little bit about it while we get into this thing.
Yeah, sure. So, do you know about the split stave barrels?
I know what I know from talking to you a little bit ago, and it blew me away. I tried to talk to Jeremy a little bit.
I do not know. So,
all right. So I'll pull up the picture on my phone for you so everybody can see it, and then we can go from there. Oh, it's not. My phone's blowing up here. Sorry. So we asked Kelvin Cooperage to do some barrels for our fourth batch, and you guys froze up. Are you? Am I froze up?
We moving?
Okay.
Right.
So we asked Kelvin Cooperage to do some barrels for us for our fourth batch, which was December of 2019. And so we did toasted and charged staves. We did 7 barrels toasted, 3 barrels of 2 char, and then we had them break down those barrels and rebuild them for us. Okay. And so since they're custom cooperage, they can do whatever they want if they want to do it for you. So they did these for us.
Okay, cool.
That's the inside of the barrel.
That's awesome.
So that's
and then I coined the name split stave. And so we call them the split stave barrels. So this is what we're going to taste here first is our 7-year-old MGP 95.5 that is finished in French oak split stave barrels. And they built 10 barrels for us. This proof is 116. Here's the actual bottle for you. I know, I just didn't have enough to send out. I sent it out to a couple other folks too. So I tried to send you a variety of samples and a bottle and some things that
very good
to get.
Yeah, I like that. Usually we don't go for the rice, but that's like a good spice.
A lot of cinnamon. I'm picking up lots of cinnamon there. Smells good. Dig it.
It's got a real good finish. A lot of flavors on the end.
Yeah.
No burn. Just
on the 95.5 rye. Before MGP got so big and bought Lux Row, they were making rye for everybody. Bullet rye was 100% MGP. They would distill it in Indiana, in Lawrenceburg. You know where the distillery is, right?
Right.
Seagram's distillery. So they distill it there. They would take tanks of the juice to Illinois, bottle it there, and bring it to Louisville to put in the Bullet gift shops. And everybody thought that the Bullet rye was there. So, I mean, it's crazy. Now it is because they got their own stills. and they've got one in Shively. They got one in Simpsonville. They're building another one in Springfield, Kentucky. But everybody knows that years ago, I'm going to say back up maybe 5 years, and then going back the last 30 or more, 40, 50, they've made whiskey for 200 brands, and you know every one of them. You know, if you go to the old who's making the whiskey for who, it was MGP was making it for everybody. So we've got a ton of this juice. We really like the 21 and the 36 too. We just finished a batch, bottled it. We probably won't release it until 2024. And we used our 36 in that one. But yeah, this MGP rye, you taste it straight up. We bought a bunch of it at 6.5 years old. We waited till it turned 7. We released it right as a 7-year-old, straight from the barrel to the bottle. We didn't finish it. And then we finished it multiple times. And all of them have gotten crazy reviews, from the Ruby Rye Springs that we finished it in, Ruby Port cask that then held dark rum out of a small rum distillery in Virginia. We also did it in some tiny port barrels that we got from Kelvin Cooperage, that they brought them in from Australia.
That's awesome. I mean, we're going to get into more of this, but so that is your unique abilities, is the finishing in some crazy stuff, right? So this rye that we just had, how long on average was this finished in your split stave barrels?
Probably, I'm going to say it was probably 5 or 6 weeks. Here's the main motto that Bill and I have, is we want to source and get the best whiskey possible. Okay. And we like drinking the whiskey by itself before it's finished. And we're not trying to cover up any flaws in the whiskey. Okay. So we don't need to overcook the juice. We don't need to leave it in the finishing barrels for, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Now, we have bought some. With that being said, I don't want you to come back on to me in another year when we release this stuff. We bought some juice from some guys in New York. It's been in a finishing barrel for 6 years, but we bought it that way. Okay. That wasn't something that we did on our own. We bought it that way. It's still in the finishing barrels, but most of ours is our toasted barrels, our single barrels are all 30 days to 6 weeks. Most of our finishes are a month to 2 months, in that range. We've had some go, 88 days that we had to put on the label when the TTB was beating us up a while back. And it says on there, finished for 88 days. We did some other ones finished 42 days in the port rum cask that we did. But most of ours, our whiskey, and I know that you guys have probably been on the website, we are totally transparent. We're giving you all the information. We're giving you all the age statements. We're telling you everything about the juice that we can. That's not in an NDA. And then we're telling you also on the finishing. And one thing that, some of the people beat us up a little bit on the cost structure. They don't really understand the cost structure, because we don't have facilities. We don't have employees. We sub everything out to third parties by work orders to have that done. And we're buying cask to finish them in, or are purchasing cask from Kelvin Cooperage. Okay. We're not finished. This isn't finished in French oak staves. Okay. We're not using staves. We're not using wood chips. If the bottle says it's finished in French oak, it's probably another barrel. Just plain and simple. The French oak barrels are extremely expensive. I think I sent you the Amburana that we'll taste later this evening. The Amburana barrels are very expensive. We did some in Mezzanera cask as well. Those are extreme. I mean, for me, they're expensive. Everybody has a different number. The Mezzanera casks were $4,500. They're empty. The Amber. Yeah. And we only used them. I mean, the Mezzanera casks were so good. We probably left them in there about 6 weeks, And now Kelvin can rip those heads off for us, spin them back down, and we can rechar them so we can use them again, and we can use them multiple times because those staves are a little bit thicker and more dense. Same thing with the Amburana. We tasted the Amburana after about 9 or 10 days was the first sample. I mean, we could have dumped it then. You know, I mean, it's so good.
Wow.
The whiskey's so good, and the casks are so good and so fresh that we're getting from Kelvin. Most of them are coming from Kelvin. I've sourced some of them myself. I've sourced just a few from one other woman that has her own brokerage, and that we've bought a couple from them. But 99% of the casks that we've used either are handcrafted by Kelvin, or they brought them in from, you know, the Oloroso, the PX Sherry, the Ruby Port, the Cognac. We've got Armagnac going right now. We got Madeira. They brought in the Mariposa Sherry from Australia, the Para Sherry, Australian, Tawny Port from Australia. And then they've crafted all these other regular 2-char. We've got some stuff in some 1-char barrels right now. We do the toasted as well. We've done this French oak twice with the split staves. We've done American oak split stave as well. And so we're getting the best cast that we can get to finish the whiskey. And we know that we're starting with the best juice on the planet. Our portfolio of barrel inventory is truly second to none. And, you know, I'm not saying that as a bragging point. I'm saying that as a factual point. Our bankers tell us nobody has a portfolio like you guys do. You know, we've got, you know, right about 2,800 barrels in inventory.
Wow.
Well,
How quickly does a barrel impact the flavor profile of a bourbon or a rye? Like if you take something and put it in one of these barrels and take it out a day later, can you taste any change
I
in it?
wouldn't say a day, but I would say 7 to 10 days. You can definitely taste it. So what we do, because we're not trying, we don't want to overcook it. And I'll let you guys. I'll walk through my house real quick and show you what I'm talking about. So we get the barrel samples. You know, if we get the cask filled, let's just say they filled them today. I wouldn't get a sample this week. I'd order them next Thursday. Our driver picks them up on Friday, and we taste it, and then we'll get samples probably every Friday or every other Friday, as long as that it's in the finishing barrels. And then if we're doing multiple batches where we've got to dump the first batch and refill those barrels again, so it's a second use on those barrels because we didn't get a large quantity of them. Then what we would do is we'll taste what's in the tank with what's current finishing and blend that back together to say, okay, if we dumped it now, this is what we got. Do we want this product, or do we want a little bit more finish on the existing barrels? Same thing that if the casks are really strong, really fresh, we put it in there and we think, you know what, even though we only left it in there about 4 or 5 weeks, you know, it might be a little bit overcooked. Let's see what we're going to do when we do the next round and bring it out. And let's get a sample like in the first week or two, blend it back with what's in the tank to see how it's calming it down. And then we'll do that to bring it back to where we want. We know that, you know, it's trial and error and everything. And Bill and I are tasting it, you know, all the time. I just want to show you real quick. I'm going to flip this around so you can just see. I'm in my tasting room, which is at my house. So I'll just flip this around so you guys can kind of see where I'm at here, and all these bottles here, all these bottles behind me. And then this other room here this is my billiard room. I've had this room here for 25 years. And then these are all the samples. This is all the stuff we're working on right now.
That's cool.
And then this is my bar, and then just some other bottles there, some other art bottles up there, and then this is some other vintage bottles and other stuff that I have.
That's
here,
awesome.
and all the 4-heat stuff. So
Let me ask you, if when you're tasting that much all the time and weekly, how closely do you try to replicate your day from dinner to what you're eating that day to what you're drinking to make sure your palate's close to the same, or does it matter?
I mean, for me, it's not. Bill would probably have a better answer on that than me. I mean, I just, I'll taste in the afternoon and go through some things from maybe like 4 to 6 or something and just taste some things. But I'm not really worried about all that. I'm not getting into all that, the total detail. Bill's writing all the tasting notes for all of our sell sheets and things like that, or the press releases. He does that for 4-Gate. And but we're both tasting it and trying to decide, hey, what cask do we want? What juice do we want? What blends do we want? And I think I sent you guys the Kelvin Collaboration 5 as one of those samples.
Yep. Is that the next one we should go to?
Well, I would probably. Did I send you the standard Flagship?
Yes, we've got Flagship split stave.
Okay, yeah,
Kelvin,
let's do that one. Let's do that one next. So I'm going to try to go a little bit by proof and not hit that Kelvin 60 till later, because that's 125 proof. So this is that split stave, the Flagship. This is one that we came out with about a year and a year ago, and it's finished in the split stave barrels. It's 7-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and we finish it for 45 days. We literally give them the dump date and the fill date the same day.
Wow.
So
what are you looking for in that initial juice selection before you even think about jumping barrels and
finishing?
Like with the split stave, like this standard release, we've got so much whiskey. When we came out with the first release last year, and then we did 2023 of this Flagship, and we give them the dates, 45 days. We want it toast in these split stave barrels. We're trying to get the whiskey something unique, a blend. I mentioned that Kelvin 5 because we did 7, 8, and 9-year-old blend. For the Kelvin 6 that we're going to do for next year, we did 3 9-year-olds in Madeira cask. So we're trying to push the envelope a little bit and do something that other people aren't. We've got that Kelvin 60 that I sent you that bottle of. That's an 8-year whiskey. We have a lot of this juice. It's great. We didn't want to do too much to it. So on that one, we picked the 8-year-old, and we did, we asked Kelvin, what could we do with like a 2-char barrel, but really change the profile fairly quickly. And he said, here's what we'll do. We're going to do a medium plus toast for about 20 minutes on the cask. And then we'll take them off, let them cool just for a second. And then they throw them back on the open fires, and then they 2-chart it. And we did 10 barrels that way. And you can see the color of that bottle sitting on the back of your table right
it's
there.
Dark.
Yeah. And that was probably 5 or 6 weeks in a 2-char barrel. Yeah.
When they char that barrel, is there any like secondary process before you pour the bourbon into it? Or is it just, it's charred, bam, right in? So you're just absorbing all that freshly charred stave?
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably a day or two before we fill them. So they char them. Kelvin Cooperage uses no gas. They use only American white oak scrap. And if you're familiar with like a Weber stacker, for your coals on your barbecue, these guys use those for their barrels. And so they got American white oak scrap wood in there, no gas. They're toasting and charring the cask, and then they'll build them out. They pressure them, they pressure test them and all that. And then we have our driver pick them up, and we try to time it as close as we can to the work order so that we know once those barrels get to BBC where they're going to be filled, that we've got the blend ready to go. And then they'll fill those barrels for us literally within a day or two of them being completed. So it goes in pretty quick.
Let me ask you, I think the split stave thing is quite unique. I really like the idea. I've got a question on what's the difference in the split stave or you do a barrel of char, heavy char, and a barrel of new white oak or new French oak, and then mix it at the end.
I mean, you could. It's just this is just unique because it's one barrel.
I got
and they're rebuilding them for us. But no, to your point, if you did 3 barrels of toast and 7 barrels of toast and 3 barrels of a 2 char and blended it back together, I would imagine you'd probably get pretty close to the damn same profile.
Okay, I was looking for the flavor profile if it was something different that I wasn't.
No. Yeah. I think it would be close because you're going to blend it back together, And we do a lot of different things, and you'll see it on. You won't see it on the bottle I sent you, but when we use the word "and" on our label, like this Kelvin 5 was finished in Australian Mariposa sherry and Añejo dark rum cask. So when we use the word "and," that means we're using 2 separate barrels to finish the whiskey, and we're blending it back together. Just what you just asked about.
I got you. Okay, that makes sense.
With all these different,
Josh, what's that?
I said, with all these different unique barrels, do you have an idea of what the end flavor profile is going to be going into it, or is it a lot of experimentation?
Bill probably has a better idea than me, but like we got some spicy dark rum cask. This batch that we're going to release next year. We got spicy dark rum cask from Kelvin Cooperage, and I'm like, man, we got some 8-year-old MGP 36% rye. Let's put that high spice bourbon in there from MGP.
Sweeten it up with that rum.
Oh yeah, and with the spicy dark rum cask, I mean it's insane, and it's a very we've never added water to any of our products. It's a really low proof batch. It came out at like 105. I mean, it's insane. It's like drinking candy. You could drink it all day.
Yeah, we'll have to get a bottle of that when those are done.
Yeah.
Or a case, whatever you got laying around.
There you go.
What have you found that doesn't work? Because it seems, there's so many different wine barrels and everybody's mixing everything. What is there that just clearly didn't work?
I think it all works.
What didn't work for us, what didn't work for us, I will tell you. Bill wanted to have, we got 12 tanks at BBC that we use for finished whiskey or blended whiskey that we're going to fill finishing barrels with. And we're always messing around with that. But Bill likes to have some of the whiskey, if we can have some in tanks, so that we can figure out what we want to do with it. And we had all this rum finished whiskey. We used about 300 or 400 gallons of it. And I think we had maybe like 700 gallons of it left. And we got these tiny port and a pair of sherry cask in from Australia. And they're like, hey man, what are we going to do with it? And it's like, well, we don't have anything to do. And I'm like, yeah, we do. I said, we got all that whiskey in those 2 tanks. Why don't we get a barrel of each, put the rum in there that Bill really didn't want to release, and let's put it in there. We were going to call the batch the Bluegrass Trilogy because it was a blend of 3 different whiskeys and blah, blah, blah. And we were doing different things, 3 different mash bills, 3 different distilleries, 3 different proofs. And I named it the Bluegrass Trilogy. And then Bill kind of didn't like the way it was finished. And so he said, hey, we got to do something else with it. So now we got all this juice sitting in these 2 tanks. These barrels come in from Australia. And so we bought 1 barrel of each of the tawny and the pear sherry, and we filled it with the rum whiskey to do a second finish on it. And then we pulled those samples and we started pulling them, and then we were blending them back together. I said, Bill, this is ideal. I said, look, why don't we do this? I'll redo the labels, send them off to the TTB, and let's do 3 bottles of this. Let's do a pair of sherry, finished in the dark rum, the tawny port, finished in the dark rum, and then the blend of those 2 for the Bluegrass Trilogy 3, and do it. And so it's finished in the Tawny, the Opera, and the dark rum all in one is the Trilogy 3. We put that in a wooden box set, and we pre-sold like I don't know, it was like 220 or 225 of them, and we sold those box sets for $750, and it really turned out good. So that was something that we really didn't have. I mean, and it's really good. I don't know if you've ever seen those box sets. I'll show it to you here real quick so you guys can get a picture of it. Let me know if that pops up on your screen.
Yep.
Do you see?
That's a good looking set. I'm
We put that in a box set. And then what we did here is we had them bottle it by the customer's orders on the Trilogy set. So when we did the first one, and we had 9 orders, just to tell you how crazy I am. We had 9 orders for it for the different states and the online folks. So we did the Trilogy 1, and those are matching bottle numbers too, by the way. So the Trilogy 1, 2, and 3, like that's my set. So it's all bottle number 3. Each one is one. So what we did is we had the bottling company say, hey, Josh wants 10 cases of each. So do the same case numbers on this pallet for Josh of batch 1 of the Trilogy 1. Same one over here for customer 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 through 9. And then when we did the second run, we brought those pallets back in and put the same case numbers on top of them and layered it. And then when we went to the different areas, to the different states with the boxes that we had built out in Washington State, we put those together and the bottle numbers matched up and we filled all of them that way.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, so just a little bit more detail than maybe you wanted, but
no, it's great. I
wanted to answer your question about, is there some whiskey that you really didn't like? And so that's how we turned that out it turned out really good for us.
Well, that's why I'm intrigued by the whole thing, because you really don't. I mean, you taste the juice and you're getting good shit. That's what I'm really intrigued about, is you're not trying to buy cheaper stuff and then you figure out a way to make it more palatable to the customer. You're getting stuff that's already good, and then you're just putting, like you said, just enhancing it a little bit. But it's
and we're paying a fortune for these barrels too.
Oh, absolutely. And you're tasting every week. So every single week you're like, But then there's that gamble of like, does another week get a little better?
Do we leave it in or do we take it out?
Yeah, exactly. That's
right.
I'm intrigued by that.
Problem with
well, and the other thing
pizza.
is too is like when we send in the work orders, like if I want to dump something right now and we're about ready to dump 2 different batches, we want to dump that now. They don't get to the work order tomorrow for you. You send in the work order. It's not like they're like, oh, hey, Josh, thanks for the work order. I'm going to dump it tomorrow.
I got you.
I mean, you're in the queue
for
the next line of whenever it's going to happen. It's not like, we don't have that leverage. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, they're running their own brand, and then they're running the, all the other stuff. Now they've got Green River there too at BBC, and their bottling line's full. They're running 3 different shifts. They're packed, and the work orders are the same way. I mean, we got stuff in trailers there that's finishing in our barrels. We got 12 tanks there that we have our other different batches in that we're finishing. That's done. That we're waiting to bottle it, but the juice is finished. And then we'll pull samples out of it just to taste with people so that they can see what's coming down the line. And what we've typically done, like if you guys, the next time you're in Louisville, or if I'm coming up to Chicago, I'll bring you a bunch of different stuff that we can taste. And then you can say, okay, and this is what happened, and what's happened a lot. And again, Bill and I are grateful. We'll taste different releases that are in tanks 6 to 8 months before we bottle it. And we're getting the feedback from you, from our other friends, from people at, Watch Hill Proper, North of Bourbon, Justin's House of Bourbon, some of the other liquor stores that we'll go to. Bill will have people over at his house. We'll meet some of the podcast people that are in town and taste with them. I mean, these people tasted Kelvin 60 6 months ago. I mean, they already told us what it was going to be. I mean, it's not like we're waiting to hear that somebody's going to say it's going to be good, because Bill and I don't have to say anything because we've already heard it from you guys.
Right.
You know, and we heard it from you 5 and 6 months before we bottle it.
Is the Flagship, is this MGP as well?
No, it's not.
Okay.
That's Kentucky. And there's not an age statement on there, but it's the first two productions of it have been 7-year-old Kentucky. The first batch was 116. The second batch was 113. We've got a lot of that whiskey. We have whiskey from that distillery that we bought. A friend of mine set me up with it, but we've got substantial amount of whiskey. We released, just to kind of give you a heads up on the brand and your listeners, of course. Last year we bottled a 10 and a 14-year-old. This year we're going to bottle 2 10-year-olds of bourbon and a rye in November for the holidays. And next year we have 3 different distilleries. All their whiskey ages up to 10. We own it all. And we've got a lot of it, and we've got a lot of it from different distilleries. And the depth of it goes back from, we've got whiskey from almost 14 years old back down to about, our youngest right now is about 3.5. We got 2,800 barrels. So, you know, that's our focal point, is to, when we can secure the juice at the right price, at the right age statement, and something that Bill's probably making more of a call of it than me. If it's something unique, I'll just tell him, hey, here's what we got. Do we want it or not? And, you know, we buy a lot of small lots because we're so, like, you know, a startup brand, if you will. And, you know, we buy lots all the time of 8, 10, 15, 25 barrels. It's not all 100 barrel lots or 50 barrel lots or something 75. We're buying the small stuff from people that want to get rid of it, or they need a little bit of cash flow. And, you know, we don't, and you're not getting the chance to taste it. Okay. You wait on any of these small lots, guys, the whiskey's gone. It'll be gone. But if they call you, you got to pull the trigger on it, and you have to say, give me 15 minutes. Let me call Bill and see what we want to do. And then if not, it's gone by the end of the day. They're not waiting around. And then you got to wire them the money. You're not getting a sample, and everybody's going to sit around and taste it. And then, like, oh, do we really trust, you know, do we want to wire Jeremy $100,000 for these barrels or whatever? You just got to go with the flow, man. Yeah, you just got to go with the flow. What's that?
I said, just send the money.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So
we buy barrels all the time. And it's like, hey, look, if the wire's not initiated tomorrow morning before 9:15, we're selling to somebody else. I mean, they're not threatening you. They've just got it.
They get the business.
They want to know if you want the juice, you know?
So let's say you've got something like this. I'm looking at this batch 28, the Kelvin collaboration.
5.
Blend of 7, 8, and 9, finished in Australian Mariposa sherry and Añejo dark rum cask. Let's say this is just the #1 bourbon ever. You guys knock it out of the park.
Yeah.
Can you replicate this 4 or 5 years down the line?
Well, I mean, maybe to some degree. You know, we can get that age stated, you know, barrels and do a blend of the juice. You know, we may not be able to get the exact cask. We may be able to get something close to it. That whiskey, we sent it into Whiskey Advocate. That got 93 points this past spring. Literally, we got it to Whiskey Advocate. They were writing the articles for the magazine, and it's the first time ever we got whiskey into Whiskey Advocate and rated that we still had in inventory. We've never had it in inventory. It's crazy.
Probably helpful for sales, right? When you can.
Yeah, of course.
Is that the next one, the batch 28, or the MWS, the Brazilian Amburana?
Yeah, let's do the Amburana's a little bit stronger. Why don't we do that taste first? Because then we'll come back and this Amburana. Have you guys had Amburana before?
We had the honey type flavor to it.
We had the
cinnamon.
We had that's the
Penelope one.
Penelope was the finished in Amburana, but it was
Yeah.
that's you said we talked. I think that was done in staves, right? Not in an actual cask.
Yeah, probably. I mean, a lot of them are using staves because they don't want to pay the money.
So they're making the actual cask out of the Amburana wood.
Yeah. So we get
doing the staves down in
staves.
Yeah. So we brought Kelvin brought the barrels in from Brazil, and this Amburana. I mean, this is 7-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and finishing this Amburana. I mean, literally, when we got the first sample, in like 10 or 12 days, we literally could have dumped it then. It's like, and I don't want to ruin it for you. I'm gonna tell you, but yeah, I'll let you guys taste it. Do the, be able to nose it and this a bit. But this juice,
well, that's got quite the smell.
That is unique.
Yeah.
That's like
the aroma.
Yeah, that's like no other bourbon I've ever tasted.
It's more like a cocktail than a bourbon.
right in your glass. And it's
wow.
So this whiskey is 75, 20, and 5. It's never been sold in the United States. We bought all these barrels from these guys. And then that Amburana, I mean, for me, now that you guys have nosed it and tasted it, my personal opinion is this is like a big cinnamon bomb right here.
Yeah.
Spicy, cinnamon. So if you like cinnamon, you're going to love this Amburana. We did taste with one guy from Arizona about 2 months ago. And he goes, I love all your products. I'm not a big cinnamon person. I really don't like this Amburana at all. But he loved the Mezzanera. And he loves our brand. He's just not a big cinnamon person. And I'm good with it.
Right.
He's being honest. And he tells his customers, he does all the bourbons and that for Bourbon and Bones in Scottsdale. And he tells his customers, he's like, look, if you like the cinnamon, if you like that, you're going to love this whiskey.
I wouldn't even go full blown cinnamon. It's more Christmas spice because it's not sweet, because you still have that bourbon. It's more of like
I don't know how to describe it.
You know how you have like a really good homemade like gingerbread cookie or whatever that's very spicy and not really sweet. It's more gingerbread.
Okay.
That's where I'm getting that. It's more spicy, which is good, but it's what normally would be a sweet spice, but it's not sweet.
Is that gingerbread has got like eyes and like a t-shirt stuff?
Yeah, just a regular, just a round gingerbread
One
cookie.
that your kids didn't mess with.
That's good.
It's very good. It's still bourbon. It's still, yeah.
The smell of it's crazy.
This
smells
bourbon,
wild.
This bourbon is so good. We got this whiskey, guys. The whiskey that you're sipping from the barrels that we got, it's never been sold in the United States, and so we were lucky enough to get it. This is 115.1 proof. This Amburana. I mean,
it's my favorite one I've had tonight, and it's crazy because it drinks like it's 3 years older than that. It drinks like a 10+ year old. Not that there's anything wrong with 7, but it's I guess with that Amburana and that mellowness and to be 115, it seems like it should be a little older in that 11-year, 12-year-old sweet spot that we like.
Yeah, don't you think it drinks a lot lower proof?
It feels. It drinks like a 90 proof, something like that.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah. I know. I mean, that's
smooth.
Is that able to be procured again on the secondary or something?
Yeah. We still have that's available everywhere.
All right,
you guys can get that.
That's
okay, good.
I mean, it's in Chicago. It's probably at Benny's.
Really?
Those guys have brought it all up there.
That's a good conversation piece right there. When you open something like that with some buddies, and that's something you can talk about. It's unique.
When we put that one out, guys, just to let you know, and that was that one the Majestic Wood series, that and the Mezzanera were the first two. We released those for $249, just to let you know. I mean, the cask cost us a fortune, and they were small runs, and but we wanted to do it. And what we say a lot, and I want to make sure that I get this in for you guys, is, you know, we're not buying this whiskey for Bill and I. We're trying to find the unique whiskey that we can finish. We're buying it for you. We're buying it for our distributors. We're buying it for our customers, our podcast people, the whiskey geeks that like our brand now, and that we're going out there to try to find unique cask. You know, we just brought some in from Europe. We just brought some other barrels in from upstate New York. Just some really unique stuff. I told you that the New York juice has been in the cask for 6 years. It's hazmat. I mean, we don't really need it. Okay. We want it to give it to you guys, you know, and we want to celebrate our brand with all the distributors, the online people, the podcast folks, everybody that has had one bottle or multiple bottles of Four Gate. That's why we're doing it. We're not doing it for Bill and I.
Well, you've got an amazing brand. I mean, we hear about you all the time, especially in the last probably 6 to 8 months. It just keeps popping up. I'm really glad we got to talk to you and do this stuff to learn more about it. Now we know, and we still got some more to go through. But I'm interested. You know, you're sourcing some really good stuff from a lot of great distilleries, and you're talking to people all the time, right? And like you said, you've admitted the fact that you're still a new company. You're still a smaller startup company. You're getting out there.
Yeah,
you're doing stuff like this. You're trying to get out in front of people. You said 9 states. Do you ever find it funny when you're talking to somebody that's maybe new to whiskey, new to your brand, that throws out some other names, and you want to be like, I wish I could tell you where some of our whiskey's coming from, so you would just, and I know you can't, but.
That's a great, okay. So here's a great analogy. And look, I like all these guys. I've got all these bottles at my house. You know, I just showed you, you know, part of my collection. I got stuff everywhere, but here's a perfect example. Great guys. I know them. I've met them before. I don't have their cell phone numbers, so I'm not that close with them, but they're good. So we did our Saint Laurent, which was a 7-year-old finishing cognac cask that Kelvin brought in for us from, we sent it down to the Ascot Awards in Dallas, which are Fred Minnick's Awards. It got double platinum.
Wow.
Okay. It's a $200 bottle. It's really good. It's really good. So one of our competitors, to your point there, releases a non-age stated 70, 21, and 9 whiskey. So from that mash bill, you know it's Green River, right? There's no age statement on it. The website says we were only able to procure 32 cognac barrels. They finished the whiskey in the cognac barrels, and they released 6,500 bottles for only $495.
Deal.
Okay. No age statement. Our age statement is on our bottle. We tell you what we did. We tell you, it was in the cognac cask for probably 6 weeks. It was so good. It was crazy. And then, you know, we put it out, and then we had a bunch of people like yourselves tasting it side by side, tasting some of those other ryes I was talking about at the earlier part of the show, tasting those ryes against Midnight Winter's Dram, just blowing it away. And that Saint Laurent is a great bottle. And it's other people, you know, hey, I like all the other brands. I don't say anything bad about them.
Yep.
What I want to do is, you know, taste compare what we're doing. You think our bottle's expensive at, you know, an MSRP of $199. and they're throwing their bottle out at $4.95, and you can't find out how the juice is.
Well, that's
Right.
that's the whole reason I brought that up, and I wanted to talk to you about it because you know so much. You've seen behind the curtain for so long. You've seen the wizard pulling the little levers behind the scenes, you know. And anybody that's been in the whiskey business long enough, from just a purchaser to anybody that's in the business, you do start to start reading between the lines, and you're not blinded by the bullshit as much anymore.
Like
Right.
the Kentucky 10 back there.
Yeah, like the Kentucky 10 that's just got a huge 10 on it.
It's not a 10 year.
It's not a 10 year, right?
It's just Kentucky 10.
But there's
good
so
marketing.
we in our industry
It's all
in the
manipulation.
What's that?
I said it's all manipulation.
yeah,
Exactly.
100% manipulation, and it's difficult when in our industry in the automotive world we've got a lot of fans, we've got a lot of customers, we've got a lot of friends that are either newcomers or have been in it just for a few years, and they're always asking for recommendations, or they're looking at this podcast for recommendations, and it's very difficult and it's daunting when you go into a liquor store where a lot of times the people that work at liquor stores are like the people that work at gun stores, and they're not exactly very helpful, you know, and they're not going to tell you, and they're beaten down by being asked for about Pappy and Blanton's all the time, right? So they're not going to really give you any recommendations. So you start looking at Top Shelf and you start looking at prices, and you're like, well, I mean, the $80 bottle's there. Well, that one's $100. It's probably a little bit better. Well, I'm not going to spend $150. So that one's $120. And this one's got like a really pretty label with a bunch of gold on it. I'll go with that one, you know, and it's difficult. And that's why I think that it's important for you to explain a lot of that kind of stuff, is the reason that yours costs what it costs. Everybody can make their own decisions on what went into it, but then also understanding that there's other stuff out there. Just because it costs $500, you need to do a little research on where that may or may not be coming from, or why, and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, and you know, the other brand that just came out, now it's probably been out about a year and a half. You know, they finished the first release for 2.5 years. They finished the second release for 3 years, and they finished the fourth one for 4 years. I mean, the third one for 4 years. And you're thinking,
How bad was the stuff that you start with?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, for crying out loud, if you're not giving me,
Just start with neutral grain spirits at that point.
Start with jet
I
fuel.
mean, it's just,
refine that.
I mean, they either got shitty cask, or they start with shitty whiskey. And Bill and I mean, we've only used 2 years ago, we did some 6-year-old finish toasted barrels for single barrels that was 6 years old. Other than that, in our fourth batch, we used some like 5 3/4 heritage that we blended with like our 12-year-old whiskey. Both of them were from Bardstown. You would know both of them. I just not at liberty to say. I mean, when I see you in face to face, I'll tell you, but I can't. Tell you
I got it.
I can't tell you online. Anyways, but if you look at our website, other than and the single barrel that we did toasted for the first round of single barrels 2 summers ago, we're on a third round of single barrels now. That 6-year-old, we did a 6 and 7-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey toasted for 30 days, and we did an 8-year-old MGP rye toasted for 30 days. Arguably, a lot of the big names out there, they like the 6-year-old better than the 7-year-old bourbon. And we use that. We did charge the same price for all 3 of the releases as we have every summer. And then, which was $2.24 a bottle. And then the other thing, with the Kelvin 5 that we'll get into here shortly, when we released the first batch at $199 in April of 19, we've maintained the same price structure ever since. And Bill and I were really cognizant when we built our business model that we wanted to make money off the very first bottle. We wanted to make money off the very last bottle that we sold. And to do that, I told him, I said, look, I've had these different consulting companies for a while, and I've been on my own with a couple other guys for about 8 years, then on my own since 2004. doing a bunch of different financial type stuff, purchasing, cost reduction, expense reduction, financial audits, post-audit recovery.
So you're having more fun now, basically, is what you're trying to
Oh
say.
yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, okay.
And where I'm getting it is that we built this model that, and this is hard for you guys because I know you have a regular business. So we don't have any employees. Everybody gets consulting fees. We don't own iPhones. We don't own computers. I've never paid an internet bill. I've never paid a utility bill. We've never paid an office rent. We work out of our houses. We don't own forklifts and we don't own warehouses. And we pay every job on its own, and we allocate it to the different batches. And we use third-party work orders for everything that we do. We tell them to go pick these barrels out of the different rick houses, do this blend with it. We bring in the barrels from Kelvin Cooperage. We ask them to fill them for us, and then we ask for samples every Friday. We want our samples picked up every Friday. We taste them, and then we dump that. I'm designing the labels on the side, getting those approved from the TTB, getting their colas. And then before, I was doing all the compliance work. I've given Bill all that now. He came on full-time in January. But we're super, super tight, lean, and we want to spend our money on two things: whiskey and glass. That's it. We don't have any other assets on the balance sheet. We've got whiskey and glass and some cork. That's it.
So you guys are basically the definition of work smarter, not harder. I mean, you've got it.
That's awesome.
Figured out.
Well, thanks. Well,
I would say probably buy a forklift. That's something fun to have around.
Yeah,
what's that?
Yeah,
I would buy a forklift. That's something fun to have around.
Yeah, you pay,
Well, I would like to. I don't have anywhere to drive it. We haven't spent any capital. We got a great banker. Our financial institution is great. These guys are fantastic. We went through about 7 different people. One gave us a little bit of money with no PGs, and then this bank came along and stepped up and gave us a bunch of cash with no PGs, and they're a true partner in spirits, wine, breweries, and they've got I think they got about $1.5 billion or $2 billion portfolio, and we're just a small piece of it, but we're lucky to be with those guys, and that's who helped finance. When I found all this juice and I told them I needed the money, they said, buy whatever you want. We'll give you whatever you need. Nobody needs to sign. The financial statements look great, and we'll work with you.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome. I want everybody to listen. We're moving to batch 28. This is the Kelvin Collab, Kelvin Collab 5, right? So this is everybody got to pay attention now. This is a blend of 7, 8, and 9 Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, right? So
yes, sir.
You're starting with 7, 8, and 9 Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, a blend of all 3 of those. You're already starting with good shit. Starting with real good shit, right?
We are, and those are from 2 different distilleries. The 7 and 8 is from one distillery. The 9's from a different one. That was, I think it was like, I want to say we did about 25 barrels. We did like maybe 50, maybe it was 30. Maybe it was like 15, 10, and 5, something like that. With the 5 being the lowest amount, or maybe it was a little bit less. Maybe it was 3 of the 9-year-old, maybe like 8 or 9 or so of the 8-year-old, and then the rest of it was the 7-year-old juice that we've had tonight in the split stave and in the Amburana. Same juice, same distillery was the 7 and 8. It was a different distillery for the 9-year-old.
And then you're going into Australian Mariposa Sherry and Añejo dark rum cask. So like you talked about earlier,
that's right.
You're splitting that up. You're putting half of it in Mariposa Sherry. You're putting the other half in Añejo dark rum. You're aging that. Then you're blending it all back together after the fact.
We're blending back together. And this is 117 proof. And, I know, as I said earlier, instead of me and Bill telling you that it's good, Whiskey Advocate gave this in the spring issue 93 points. So.
Yeah, I don't need anybody to tell me that that's good. It's just good. My mouth tells
There
me
you
it's
go.
good.
Yeah. Make your own decision, right?
I think everything drinks so much smoother than what the proof is coming out to be.
And we've learned that now in the past probably 6 or 7 months is what we think is proof burn is been other stuff. It's been
Shitty whiskey.
well that, or it's been overcooked in something else. It's been whatever that.
Well, and they sorted out with something bad too.
Yeah. Well, you're right. That's got the viscosity I like. That's got the mouthfeel that I've been looking for.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. That's
really
really good.
How many bottles of this have you guys produced?
I think there was about, I want to say probably around 3,000 or so.
And is that just a one-time, one and done? You're not going back to it?
Yeah, we won't. I mean, we may come back to it, in a couple of years or something, and see if we can get some more similar casts of that. But yeah, I mean, basically these Kelvin collaborations, that whole series have gone crazy. I mean, Kelvin 1, 2, and 3, they all got crazy awards. The Kelvin 2 got Fred Minnick's Barrel Finish Whiskey of the Year. 3 and 4, I've got the Ascot Awards over here on in my tasting room here. We got them. This one just got 93 points. I mean, we've had guys like you do the tastings of all 5 of them, of all the Kelvin collabs that we release them every April for the Kentucky Derby, which is in the first week in May. We release it in April every year, and people are tasting them, and they're arguing over which one's better, And now we've got the new Kelvin 6 coming out in another 8 months or 6 months, whatever, and we're tasting it with them now, and people are telling me, no, I like 4 better than 5. No, I just tasted the 6 in beer and rum cask, and I think it's better than the other ones. I'm like, and we just want to hear it from you guys.
Yeah,
that's why I want you to taste it. That's why I don't like to say a lot, or Bill either, because once Bill or I say something, or any other brand too, if they start giving you the different tasting notes or telling you, what do you think of this on the split stave barrels, or this Mariposa sherry and the rum, what do you think? People are going to come back to us. And
I'm going to tell you, that's really, really good. I'm going to rank, but coming off of the Amburana,
that's the standout for me.
That's the standout. The Amburana is still a standout for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of 1-2 on those.
That's the second favorite tonight. I think it's really, really good. I wish I would have had it before the Amburana. It just, I don't know.
Hey everyone, Andy Stumpf here, the host of the Ironclad Original Change Agents podcast. In addition to producing podcasts like Change Agents, Danger Close with Jack Carr, Oil and Whiskey with Roadster Shop, and others, Ironclad also works with some of the world's biggest brands like Mechanics Wear, Under Armour, the Navy SEAL Foundation, Anthem, and a ton of others to create industry-leading custom film series, commercials, podcasts, and more. We can also get your message in front of an audience of millions by placing it on podcasts and series just like this one. To check out more about Ironclad and see how they can help you elevate your company, brand, or business, check out thisisironclad.com. Thisisironclad.com.
It's good. It's freaking amazing.
Help us understand on the proof side, when you, this is a higher proof whiskey, but when you're drinking something that's so sought after, it's put on a pedestal, it's super collectible, like George T. Stagg, right? It's a Buffalo Trace antique. I mean, on the second hand market, that's a $2,000-$3,000 bottle of bourbon, right? It's
bourbon? Oh, it's firewater.
Well, yeah, I mean, no offense, but to them, and maybe it's just my palate, but that's like drinking pure, it's basically nitromethane. It's like high octane gas.
That's been lit on fire before you drink it.
It's not, I can't imagine. I don't know what palate enjoys that. And granted, I love almost everything they do, but that as a high proof is difficult to enjoy. Why is
Yeah.
that?
Well, I mean, you get that high octane. I mean, we did one of those hazmats last summer. We did an MGP 14-year-old that was 144 proof, and we only had 3 barrels of it. Cost us a fortune. They were basically empty. We got 130 something bottles out of 3 barrels total. So we sold it for $450, and 5 hours after we were tasting it and signing the bottles, and people were buying it, 4 hours later it was online for $2 grand. I mean, people like that hazmat,
Yeah.
It was an Indiana Foundation. It's good. I mean, people love it. They were comparing ours to if you had the Heaven Hill 17-year-old and some of the other ones last year. They were comparing those for whiskey of the year, and they're like, they cost so much. It's so limited release. Should they really be in the mix or not? And I don't really care about that much of the high proof. If it's that high of a proof, I'm usually just taking a little sip of it. But when it's something like this, 117, that's been finished in these finishing casks,
Yeah.
you can sip it. It's a lot smoother. I think you get a full mouth feel on it. I think there's a lot of our whiskeys give you a great aftertaste, and how it goes down. And that you get the whole thing on your palate. I mean, some of these, you can go back and visit them. Like if I was there with you guys, we would say, okay, at the end of this, everybody grab a bottle and give yourself another pour. And what are you going to grab? If we're with 6 or 8 different women and men at the tasting, everybody reaches for a different bottle.
Oh yeah.
Because it has a different palate, know.
As you guys keep growing and having kind of more and more success in all these standout bottles, are you looking to be increasing your production so you can get more out there? Or is it kind of still keep it kind of tight and the exclusivity and keep that unique demand going?
All 3 of those comments or statements or words is part of what we built the company on, which is scarcity. So, I mean, even if we do more production, we got to be in more states. We don't need more bottles anywhere. We still have a little bit of some back batches where before we didn't have it, but I'm saying like a little bit. I mean, there's like 3 odor batches that we have. We've probably got like 5 to 9 cases in inventory. I mean, somebody could come in and buy them all tomorrow, and you wouldn't hear that comment from me.
So if you see it on the shelf, grab it because it's not going to be there again.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, and you guys have told us this. Obviously, this is the first time I'm on your podcast, but the other folks in your exact comment is they're going in to buy a specific batch that maybe it was never in their state, or maybe it was, and now it's gone. And now they're buying our brand. And now they know that, we're not cutting corners on anything that we've done or that we're going to do. And the batches that we have coming out are just as good or better of everything that we've done. And we want to try to just keep that going. Bill and I are focused on it every day on what are these next casts that we're going to get to create something new. I mean, we got some brandy cask in that took me a year to get. We got these brandy casks in. We tasted the juice after 9 days. We could have dumped it in 9 days. The brandy casks were 74 years old. Well, the casks were 30 years old, but the brandy went in after Oloroso sherry. It was 1948 distillate.
Great.
It went in the sherry cask at 61 years old. Stayed in the sherry cask for 13 years. They dumped it at Thanksgiving of last year. We got the cask from Spain in February of 23, and we filled it with our 7-year-old whiskey that you've been drinking tonight. I mean, it's insane.
I got a
Since-
question. So that obviously those casks cost a fortune, right? They've survived a long life of care, but they also have to get shipped from Spain to you. Do the people that are transporting what appears to them as an old ass barrel, do they just? I mean, that is got to be a nerve wracking experience to make sure those barrels all make
Come
it.
intact.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
pack it full of
they
whatever.
throw them in a 40-foot high cube,
Okay.
and it's just a regular ocean container.
I got you.
Like you see on an 18-wheeler or
I
a
got you.
train, rail truck.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that. So the casks were 30 years old. The first 17 years they held the Oloroso sherry, and then when the Oloroso sherry got dumped, then they put that 1948 distillate in that sherry cask of the brandy, and the brandy was from 1948. It was 61 years old when it went in the cask. We got these casks, and they left it in there for 13 years. They dumped it in November, and we got those barrels. I mean, our distributor in Tennessee said, "These are the most unique casks you got. This should probably be one of the most expensive whiskeys that you guys release. It's so unique and so good." I took it to Florida with me last March when it had only been in the cask about 3 or 4 weeks, and everybody's just going crazy over it.
When does that launch?
I'm not sure. It's been in the finishing it's been in the finishing tank. We tanked it, I don't know, probably 6 months ago, 7 months ago. I mean, it's so good. I got 2 bottles of it in my other room.
You're going to be sure to send us a bottle when it's ready to go, right?
We'll purchase.
Yeah.
We'll purchase.
Yeah, just let us know when it's going. We'll buy it. Yeah,
No, I'll get you. I know you
thinking,
got Josh. You were so nice to offer to buy some bottles, and I'm like, let's do this, and you guys want to do something else, and I can get Chris, my guy up there in Chicago, and get some more bottles over to you. But
do that. We're ready to purchase now. We're ready. We all know what we want.
Hit the buy it now.
yeah, but let's go back to this Kelvin 5. What do you think?
Well,
I mean,
haven't tried it.
Let's
of
get
that-
into it.
No, we're with Kelvin 5 we just had, right? Are you want to get to 60?
Yeah.
Kelvin, the Kelvin, I
didn't know if you wanted to talk a little bit more about that Kelvin 5.
that's your favorite. The Kelvin 5 was your favorite.
I'm hitting
bar
that.
none.
That's my number one. Even
Yep. We're not over
Nails
yet
it.
though.
Nails
But
it for me.
it would normally on a normal night that would have been right up my alley. But having had that Amburana beforehand, Amburana, it just propelled it. I don't know why. Maybe it's like you said, everybody's palate's different, but we found that it's the nights. Like the nights are different too. There's some times where it's like, I got to have some proof. Give me some spice. And there's other times where you want a little something different where, we generally gravitate to a lot of weeded bourbons. Our sweet spot's usually in the 12-year range, but then there's some times where you just want something will hit you that's a little bit off the wall. He might hate it, and I'm like, man, I really like this tonight. Tonight, I think the Amburana for me, as of right now, is my standout. You love the 5.
The Amburana is the most unique. For
Yeah,
sure.
I wish I had them separately because I feel like the Amburana is like a bit overpowering. It's awesome flavor, but it might change your palate from
It
what else you
had
guys
such a
drink after.
great flavor, and it was so mellow. I think that is jading me on the Kelvin 5 because I think the Kelvin 5 is amazing, but I think
But it's just bourbon after that.
yeah, it screwed me up. Yeah. So now I want everybody to tell the Kelvin 60. This is brand new, right?
Yeah, this is brand new. We just released this like a week and a half ago, and so I'll tell you what I did.
Well, first of all, if you're doing all the labels, by the way, we haven't even touched on that. It's a great bottle. Great bottle, great label,
thank you.
great design. It says this is very nice without slapping you in the face. You know what I'm saying? If that makes it the right thing.
I mean, it's got a nice price tag. It lets you know it's nice.
Yeah, but
it's a higher
see
end.
so much with like so much embellishment and so much gilding, or a crazy ass bottle and something like that. This is the right amount of
Walk softly, carry a big stick.
exactly.
Nice.
Well,
Great
like,
job.
like if you take a look at that sub label there, okay, all that is embossed and tactile, even the outer edges of it, as well as the top label. The aged 8 years is embossed and tactile. So is the 4 gate. We do our back label too, which nobody does. spin that around and you can feel that
Yeah.
the tactile and the emboss there. We do the tactile and the emboss on the tax stamp too, on the FGWC logo that I designed on the top of the tax stamp. That's all embossed in tactile too. So this bottle is, if you look at that face label, Kelvin Cooperage was founded in 1963 in Glasgow, Scotland, named after River Kelvin that goes through downtown Glasgow. And so their father named it. Paul and Kevin came over to the United States.
Early 90s, right?
In the early 90s, yep. Kevin played golf at Pepperdine. And then I named that. You can see the batch there. I took the batch number off and called it Batch AC because I called it the anniversary celebration right there above the age statement on the top label. You see that?
Yep.
So this is to celebrate 60 years of them being in business. And I wanted to do this. Kevin McLaughlin, who is a good friend of mine, and I did 3 financial projects at Kelvin Cooperage, 2 at the Cooperage and 1 for his family before he passed away of stage 4 cancer. But that's how I started working with these guys. And then Bill and I wanted to do the company. And so they said, hey, come on in and we'll do it. We'll help you with all the cask at the beginning. And Paul and Kevin were just great. They're like, don't even pay us, Bobby. Just move the barrels back and forth. And then, if you guys ever make some money, we'll start charging you. And so I told him, I said, hey, man, we're making some money. You can start charging us. He goes, no, you don't have to pay us yet. It's only been the first year. I said, we're good. You can start billing us.
Are you guys picking up the finish on that? That like hangs in your mouth for like 30 seconds.
This is what I mentioned to you earlier. So these barrels were a medium plus toast for about 20 minutes. And then they did a 2 char on them. And I think we did 10 or 15 barrels. I'd have to look at my spreadsheet. And then we finished it in these casks for about 6 weeks.
Jug it with the proof.
You can smell that wood right away, can't you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What's the proof on it?
125.
Oh, wow.
125.6.
0.6,
yep.
Yeah.
It drinks in the 90s.
I haven't drank anything that doesn't hit me. Like it's all been awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed. I've got to tell you, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, but I saw one of your bottles on the shelf probably 4 or 5 months ago. And I wasn't familiar with the brand at the time. And I kind of looked at it and, it's a higher price point. And I hemmed and hawed and I was like, I don't know. But like, how do you get a guy like me who I buy a lot of bourbon? How do you get me, like push me to purchase that right when you see it? Like now I'm a customer.
Listen
right?
to this podcast.
Right.
Yeah. Now I'm sold, but
it's a podcast, whether we're listening to Oil and Whiskey or some of the old Fred Minnick videos, or you got the bourbon junkies out there. You got the Bourbon Judge. It's Bourbon Night, Mash and Drum, My Bourbon Journey. All these guys are men and women. We've sent them bottles like this. We've tasted with them. When they're in Louisville, we drink with them. We have them. I call my house the world headquarters. They come over here. We taste a bunch of stuff. Some other prominent people that are in the business. The guy that's in your neck of the woods, Chris, that works for us now as a brand ambassador, he's got a great palate. He's got, 2,000 bottles in his basement. He's super cool. He knows everybody. And it's getting the word out. That's why I wanted to talk to you guys when I saw that one podcast, like I don't know, 2 months ago, and you really weren't that familiar with it. And you were saying, Four Gate's kind of an expensive bottle, blah, blah, blah. But it's expensive, but, here's what you have going. When you're spending the amount of money that we spend on buying barrels after they've turned multiple hands, and we're buying them from brokers, and then we're moving them to our rick houses that we still got to rent, you're insuring them. We're paying for all the moves. We're paying for all the operations. We're paying for all the rebarrelings. We're paying for all those 12 tanks I told you that we have on rent. We got trailers rented with finishing barrels in it. I mean, it's an extremely expensive process. And the number one thing that I can tell you and your listeners is 4-Gate whiskey is not cutting the color. It is not cutting any corners. I mean, our labels are insane. I'm going to show you this one. Let me see if I can get this single barrel here. Okay. This is our single barrel from last year, okay? I'm going to show you this. So I designed these neck tags, and then we've got on the back whoever bought it, right? This one's from Specs in Texas, right? So we did these neck tags. I had my guy burn these for us, cut them out of American white oak, burn the front with the 4-Gate logo, put the actual barrel information on the back, and he's like, how much are they going to cost? I said, cost is important, but I want premium, classy whiskey and appearance. I'm not putting a fucking gold sticker on my bottle that's a single barrel. I mean, those neck tags I just showed you, we spent $25,000 on those last summer. And I could have spent $2,000 on gold stickers.
Sure, it's a high-end product.
You got to do what you got to do.
Look, guys, just like that bottle in front of you right there, I'm not gonna not emboss it and tackle it. Use the best paper that we can get and the best adhesive for our bottle, and then that 8-year-old whiskey. And the new cask that we bought from Kelvin Cooperage, we move the cask down, we pay the freight, we pay them to rebarrel it. We bought the cask. Then when they're empty, we got to move the cask back to Kelvin. They buy them from us. But all of those are processes of what we want to do to deliver a luxury product to you and to the market.
Well, you made that decision a long time ago when you decided to buy 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old good distillate, good whiskey. You made that decision that you wanted to take a premium. Why make that decision, then decide to buy expensive ass barrels to finish it at, and work with Kelvin Cooperage to build barrels, char barrels, break the barrels down, rebuild barrels, spend all that money, spend the moving, and then get all the way down to the label, and you're like, you know what? I bet you we could make this bottle about $4 cheaper. If it's 190 or 186, well, at that point, what does it matter?
Well, I think we're all.
I mean, look, I told all the investors when we were trying to raise all the capital. You go to the 3 Fs, right? The 3 Fs to raise the capital, and so we did that. And I told them, I said, I'm not really a person that wants to cut corners. I like nice shit. I want to have it nice. I want to design it. I want it to be premium, ultra, luxury. I want our bottle to stand up against anybody else's. We're using both bottles now. We're using the Holly bottle, which is that one that's on your table there. We're also using the Gettysburg that I showed you earlier. That was the French oak rye, but no corners cut. We're not cutting any corners. Yeah, we don't have a tasting room. We don't have that. We're not deploying capital to things that aren't going to bring 4-Gate whiskey money. And what we believe is the best avenue for our luxury brand is to spend money on the juice, the finish, and then design the most premium labels, luxury labels, the neck tags, especially. I just wrote the check last week to Brian. He's a great guy for all the neck tags this summer. There's no way I'm putting a gold sticker on my bottle. I'm just telling you.
I think we're missing the mark on all of this here. And from a marketing standpoint, I wouldn't try to be justifying how much cost you have in it. I think it's the flavor, the taste. Would you buy this bottle at $200?
100%.
Yes, absolutely.
No.
I mean, I think
Well, that's what I'm saying.
that's the
I mean, when it
that's
gets
the
all
end
down to
result
it-
there. Like drinking
Right.
all of these, I think are pretty incredible. Super limited releases. You can't find them anywhere. When they're gone, and they're phenomenal bourbons. So I would think that's
Well, thanks.
that's
I
the
mean-
selling point right there.
Yeah, but you got to have
It's-
you got to taste it, or you got to listen to somebody else that
right.
yeah,
You know, that, you know,
tells you, "Fuck yeah, it's good."
And we know, right, and we know how great the juice is, and that's what we've been talking about for the last hour, is how great the juice is and how we're finishing it. I just wanted to tell you, you know, kind of summarize what the package is too,
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
we're not putting a plastic label on there or a paper label on there. We want the appearance to match what's inside of the glass.
Of course.
And what's inside of that glass, Bill and I know that have created a luxury brand, and that we want in the barrels that we have in inventory, that we can continue to deliver this to you and to our customers everywhere. I mean, it's really important about being able to be consistent with great profiles coming forward, and what we have in the hopper. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know.
The appearance of it's important. I mean, something that's a high-end product like that, I mean, that's going to be a feature of your collection.
Yeah.
Somebody's not buying that to just kill that bottle that evening, right? You're buying that bottle and you're going to sip it,
Yep.
and you're going to share it with your best of friends and people who appreciate bourbon. It's going to live in your collection, so it should look
Appropriate.
right?
Yeah.
It does.
Well, thanks. And, you know, like this Kelvin 60 bottle, Paul's buying like 5 or 6 cases to ship them around. I did a special bottle called Eagle Thief when his brother passed away. They bought like 11 or 12 cases, and that was a $300 bottle. We gave all the money to charity. Everybody participated in it. We gave a $30,000 check to Kevin's charity of choice. And Paul and Kelvin Cooperage shipped those bottles all over the world to their customers with a couple glossy pages from me on how to design the label when Kevin passed away. But, you know, and I'll tell you just a couple minor things were I named it Eagle Thief because he was the captain of his golf team at Pepperdine.
Huh.
And so that was for making eagles on the golf course, and obviously the Whiskey Thief. And then I used his college colors on it. Okay. From Pepperdine on the label. And then the most important thing I did was I asked the TTB if we could use barrel proof, even though we're going to add a smidge of water to water it down to 122.7, because he died on December 27th.
Oh wow.
And so
Cool.
Paul bought like 10 cases of that from Justin's House of Bourbon, shipped them all over the world to their customers, wrote personal notes to everybody. I put in glossy pages of the label and everything that I did to design that for them. And it was basically the same thing that I just did with this bottle here with Kelvin 60. I was bouncing everything off Paul every couple of weeks saying, hey, man, this is what I want to do. Let's call it Kelvin 60 or Kelvin at 60. I want your logo on the bottle. Let's do Kelvin Cooperage at the top, blah, 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 from 1963 to 2023. Let's do that. I want to call it the anniversary celebration, change the batch number to just batch and call it AC. And then I did some special neck tags that just came in. I didn't have them when you had them. I just did these neck tags here for Kelvin Cooperage, added their Kelvin logo on it, and then ours is on the other side, so that when he ships out these bottles of his, he can have that on there as a little bit of respect for the 60 years that they've been in business. And so, you know, when I'm designing this and getting all this stuff approved from the TTB and getting the colas and the formulas approved, I do all that, you know, so anyways, wanted to share some of that with you because I know that you got be interest. Well, hey, look, you're detailing the automobiles. I'm detailing in the whiskey bottles, right? I mean, it's the same thing, you know.
It's important.
Absolutely important.
All the details are important.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
was.
what do you think of that Kelvin 60?
I think it's really good. I've done my own rating here on all the bottles.
You're
You're writing
sketching
over
away.
Been taking notes as
You've been a
along.
busy little bee.
All right, good. I like that.
Well, we
I
had,
like that. Yeah. I'd like to hear it from all three of you guys before we
We're
sign off or whatever.
We're amateurs, so this is not like you could take these reviews with a grain of salt. But
No, it's good. It's good. I like it.
I've got.
Hey, look, you're at my level. If you're an amateur, that's what I am.
yeah.
All right, the first one we had was the batch 27. All right. So
Okay.
That was the rye.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was the
right.
French oak. That was the rye. Finish
Yeah.
the French.
So I really liked it. I've got that as an 8.2. That's where I rated it.
That's solid.
The next was the Flagship. I've got that down to a 6.5.
Wow.
Just coming off that rye, I think it was good. That's just where I ranked it. I got to be honest, you know.
Taste it to see if I can prove you.
Go ahead, try it. If you try it again, we're all different.
Hey guys, give me 1 second, please.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Hold that thought.
That's what I do when I disagree with you. That's like a
You're an asshole.
it's like a fuck you. See how I do that? It's like
Yeah, I see it, but you're not saying anything.
he's not there right now, so it's like a fuck you.
What number are you giving it?
I'd give it more than I think a 6.5 is light for sure.
I don't remember. I'm going to be honest.
Just take a swig. I'd give that like a 7.0, honestly. I think it's. I think
Got
it's
that.
That's pretty good.
Playing chess over here.
I just move quick and precise.
All right. This was 1. This was 2. What was 3?
The Amburana.
Dude, I think you're.
Banger. That's a banger.
All right, sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
man. I got it. Josh.
Jeremy went up
Yeah,
on me on the
Josh
Flagship.
apologizes. He's off base with his 6.
I didn't. No, I didn't apologize. You said you gave it a 7.0.
Okay.
What's Phil give it?
I think that's a good number on that.
7.0.
I'm going to go 7.5 on the rye.
What's Jeremy going on the rye?
So I'm not a rye guy, but I really, really like that. And I'm going to go 7.9 on the rye. It's good.
All right. So we got a 7.5, 7.9, and an 8.2 on the rye. We got a 7.0, 7.0, and a 6.5 on the Flagship.
For the record, what's like the highest we've ever rated anything?
I
touched the
think
9s yet?
I think a 9.2 is the highest we've ever gone in 2 years.
On
So
anything.
On anything.
It's a fake ceiling there.
A 9.2.
It is.
Yeah.
And that was
No, 10. 10 exists.
It's
Somebody's got to make a fucking whiskey that gets to a 10.
what was the
We
9.2?
basically have a drop ceiling.
The 9.2 is the
Yeah, there you go.
lot B.
I think the 9.2 was either birthday bourbon or one of the a lot B 12-year Pappy. I don't remember. Next up,
Yep.
the Amburana. I'm gonna go ahead and jump out front
Get
and
it?
tell you
Because you
were a
you
fan.
enjoyed that.
I liked it
You
a
like
lot.
that one?
I gave it a 9.0.
Whoa.
I gave it a 9.0 as I drank it.
Good.
I liked it a lot.
That is a review.
It's
right
a
there.
banger.
It's 100%. It is a review.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that was a very interesting bourbon. I give it an 8.7 because it was badass.
That is, I'll get
Thank you very much.
our benchmark, and I hate to use another brand's name, but our benchmark from this podcast and even amongst friends, when you come across a bourbon that's got just a wild flavor, it's always like that's kind of like a Noah's Mill, right? A Noah's Mill's got just a crazy flavor, right? But it lacks in the bourbon. So this is great flavor.
You would say that essentially dunks on a Noah's Mill, right?
Oh
Yeah.
I wouldn't
that's
use.
what the kids
I don't
say.
speak that way, but I would. I
But that's
agree
what-
with
yeah,
the.
but that's
thing.
what the
Yeah,
kids would say.
nobody.
I'm gonna
You
go-
shouldn't say that either. Nobody should say that.
He's the youngest here. He can get away with it.
He's 40, so nobody over 40 should say it. What do you give it?
40.
875.
Really?
Old man.
Yeah, he's fucking super old. 40. Not as old as me, but
You better get that life insurance policy going.
I know.
Oh, yeah. It's part of the company benefit policy. So it's part of the package. We're good.
I'm surprised you remember that.
Oh, I know all sorts of things. You'd be surprised at the things that
I
know.
would be. I think.
I'm like
I
I'm
definitely
like
would
your
be.
cars guys in your garage. I'm an antique.
Phil, what do you give the Amburana?
875. That
Okay.
was,
Just a
that was
little bit
awesome.
more than Jeremy. Just
That's all right.
You
wanna be
I'm-
kinda right in
I
between
know. We
there.
got to get off these half numbers and quarter
No.
numbers and stuff.
That's a solid number. 8 and a quarter, 8.5, 8.75, 9.
No, I know how numbers
Very-
work.
Hey, you guys try to get creative with your like 8.297.
No, 8.7,
repeating.
8.5, 8.6,
I think-
8.8.
I think Josh was pointing the finger at you on that one. He was like,
Yeah, no, these are standard quarter
Okay.
numbers. It's a rounding thing.
good number, good review.
8.75, 8.7, and a 9.0 on the Amburana.
Josh doesn't like to write that extra number when
I mean,
he's
know.
doing
I mean, Jeremy, are you gonna give one of them like a 7.92?
No, that's a complex number for me.
No,
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
good. I just want to make sure.
We don't have that refined of a
All right,
palate.
I mean, I'm not saying mine.
I work.
I'm
You
not
know,
saying Harmony
I'm a
any of them.
I'm a fabricator by trade, so I work in fractions.
Yep.
All
You
right,
know,
good.
yeah, I might give that like a
Ooh, you
know,
switch it up 7 1/8 maybe.
maybe. Yeah,
The batch 28, I gave it an 8.6. I liked it.
the batch 28 was a standout for me.
You're gonna,
That was the Kelvin Cooperage 5.
Man, yeah, that one.
but it was not as good as my 9.0 Amburana. And if you gave the Amburana 8.7, you've walked yourself into a little bit of a hole there, son.
I'm gonna go 8.9. That was a phenomenal bourbon.
Let me
I would-
guess.
I would
That's
spend-
8.925.
I would spend many monies on that if that was in the glass case at said liquor store for $200, $300, maybe even $400. I would say I'm gonna buy that. Having known what it tastes like now, I'd buy it.
I'm going to go just judging off of the bottle, what's left. The Amburana is the winner.
We have gone back to it several
Yeah,
times.
I've gone back to it 3 times.
What are you going to give the batch 28?
I'm going to make it easy on you. I'm going to go 8.7.
8.6, 8.7, and 8.9.
I wish I had it before the Amburana. I think we have to go back like around 2.
Oh
and
my
review it
goodness, I just
separately.
went.
Dude, the moral of the story here is that these are all really, really good bourbons.
What do you give the Kelvin 60? It's not over yet.
I'm 8.0.
Ooh,
Yeah, and
I gave it a 7.8.
Did you?
Yeah, sure did.
That's a tight clump there.
Yeah. I can get on that 8.0
Yeah.
bandwagon. It's good. I like the other batch 28 better.
Four-Gate brought the heat.
I do think that it
Tonight.
is a little difficult to rank the last like 3 when we've drank so much of the first 3.
Right.
How do you cleanse your palate in between?
Lemon
I just
sorbet.
drink some ice water.
Just some ice water?
Yeah. I mean, because we're doing it. I mean, not every day, but almost every day. We're tasting something.
Right.
And but I'm not like doing, people are like, oh man, do you want like a charcuterie board or something? I'm like, yeah, I'll have it at the end of the night. I'm not going to have any of that during the tasting.
Right.
What's your
No.
favorite out of this batch here?
I really love the rye. I would say if I had to rank them, probably go the Kelvin 5 the anniversary bottle of the Kelvin 60, the split stave, the French oak, and then the Flagship.
Yeah, we're close around about that way.
Yeah,
we're close.
But everybody's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah,
and but, hey, that's the beauty of it. It's like you were asking earlier, whether food or this. All the people that, and you guys know, I'm sure, because you were asking that question. All the people that do the detailed tastings and they're writing notes, they're doing it 2 or 3 nights in a row or an off night in between, but they do it 3 times to get it, to make sure that their food, their exercise, their mood, or their work pressure or family pressure isn't influencing their taste or their profile. I mean, I don't get into all that shit. I taste.
We don't either.
Yeah, I mean, Bill might do some of it. I've never really asked him that, but I know a lot of people get into that stuff, and they're like, "Oh, well, we got to taste it 3 nights in a row, blah blah blah," or 3 nights with a night in between to see how it is, and we want to have it set up for 15 minutes, and
Have you been able to identify a proof and or a year age statement that somehow, for some reason, that you personally gravitate towards, that you're like, I always like this age statement, or I always like around this whatever proof?
We're bottling some MGP 10-year-old right now, rye. We're going to bottle it in the next, once the labels come in. The 10-year-old rye is really, really good. I like it a lot. I almost think I might like the 7 or 8-year-old a little bit better, because it's not, it hasn't set in the wood as much, and you get more of the spearmint and that flavor coming out of it. It's almost like drinking candy, like a spearmint candy, a little bit of spice in there. When it goes to 10-year, it's still really good. It's just like if you drink that, you guys have the Redemption. Do you get the Redemption 10-year?
Yes.
And the Redemption bourbon too. Same thing. We've got all that juice, which is MGP. I like that. I like our 10-year a lot. The 10-year bourbon is insane. And I'm not at liberty to tell you. It's really good. We paid a fortune for the barrels. I mean, a real fortune. Those barrels we bought about a year and a half ago. I think they were like, I want to say maybe 8.9 years old when we bought them. And we paid, it was a little bit under 9,000 a barrel. And so, we got some of this other juice where the price points are more reasonable. We bought some of this from the 2 different distilleries. The guys out west, we bought all the MGP and the MGP 21 and 36 bourbon. There's a friend of mine. I bought a couple lots, or 1 lot or 2 lots through a broker in Europe. And then I bought the other lots directly from him through another broker in Connecticut that said, you can just go straight to the source and we don't need any commission on it. So that really helped out 4-Gate. And then the other ones are, you guys just got, you don't understand on, well, like talking about that rye or the bourbon, that 36, I think the 36 is really good. This whiskey that we've been drinking tonight, our primary whiskey, that was in the Kelvin 60. That was in the Amburana that was in the split stave. That's all from the same distillery. Those are all barrels that I sourced for us. We got a great deal on it. We bought a bunch of it. And that whiskey has never been released in the United States ever.
Really? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
All of it was phenomenal stuff. But I'm curious, from a guy who knows as much about bourbon as you, that is involved in this process, you go out to a steakhouse with a group of dudes, right? And you say, I want a bourbon. And they come back and they say, well, what kind of bourbon would you like? Well, I'd like to see a menu. They bring you a bourbon menu, and it says Buffalo Trace, Woodford Reserve, Bullet, and Eagle Rare.
Basil
right?
Hayden's.
And Basil Hayden's.
Oh.
Good
I
addition.
just wanted a response.
Okay, because that's like, all right, if you're at a Stony River, Morton's,
Right.
or Ruth's Chris,
Right.
you know, you're
You're not going to
chain.
order the Avion water, are you?
No, these are your chain steakhouses, and you're gonna have a bourbon neat. What do you order? What do you get?
Well, I mean, typically I would do if they have a decent selection, I'd probably go Michter's Rye 10-year.
That's a serious pull though. Like they don't have that. Right?
You're saying they don't. He's eating at better restaurants.
You're eating at a pretty fancy steak
then if they
joint.
don't have that, then I would do something like I'd probably, because I got so much whiskey here, just like you guys do.
Right.
I'd probably do like a Bullet Rye
Okay.
or a Bullet or
Or get a cocktail and let them fuck that up.
No, I'm not getting a cocktail. There's no way.
Here's
I
all
get
the
like
beers.
what I was
I'm gonna
getting.
order a glass of. I'm gonna order a glass of red wine, and I'll have the bourbon on the bourbon back on the side.
Okay, there you go.
And I'll do something like that. There's no way I'm ordering any cocktail. There's no
Okay,
way.
but so if it's like a Bullet or Woodford, because that's what it comes down to when push comes to shove, and that's
Bullet.
all that's left
He
on the
said
menu.
Bullet.
Is where it's at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would do a Bullet Rye. I would just do a Bullet Rye. I mean, it's something simple. Here it's probably $5 to $8 a pour. I'll if I'm doing it at dinner, I would say probably do either a rock or a square cube in it. If not, just give it to me neat. And then I'd order a glass of Pinot or Cab and have whatever I'm having for dinner.
Man,
good. Hey,
that's great advice.
That's good advice. That's important because it's not often that you have a vast menu, right?
No.
Right.
More,
I mean,
more
yeah,
often
if you
than
don't
not,
have
those are your offerings.
Right.
I mean, if you don't have a lot, I mean, if Rabbit Hole was available, I'd probably get that too, because Kaveh is a good friend of mine. If you want to go a little bit higher end, I love all the products from Peerless. Corky Taylor's a good buddy of mine too.
Peerless is probably like one of my faves.
And the Michter's, I've got 40 bottles of big Michter's here at my house, and I know Andrea and Vicky, they're good friends of mine, and another buddy of mine just went to work there about 9 months ago or a year ago. Marcus is a really, really good friend. He may have helped my company out more than anybody else. Since we got started, and it was he was instrumental. I named some batches. If you guys come and play around, maybe name a batch after you. But I named one of the Port Perry batches after two guys that were named Perry, one first name, one last name, that did so much for my company in Gate that I told Bill we should name that batch for him. And so that was one guy from MGP and one guy from Chicago that sourced a lot of whiskey for me and gave me some great terms. And his investment group really, really helped out our brand. And you got to acknowledge these people that help you out so much. I mean, I can make a phone call now and get almost whatever I want. It may not be the right price, but I can get it. If I need terms, if I need this or that, we've got a really good name because we pay on time, we pay quick, we're professional, we do what we say we're going to do.
That's important.
And we deliver on it. And that's the model that Bill and I've built for 4-Gate Whiskey.
Love it.
Man, Bob, it's been absolutely a blast. I'm so glad we got to talk to you, learn more about the brand, and I definitely
drink the whiskey.
I know. Well, I would drink the whiskey, absolutely, but if it makes any difference on the P&L, right? You've got 3 absolute customers, and I guarantee you there's, what do we think? Over under 6, 7 guys listening?
I think we had double.
You're right. Yeah, you're double.
Yeah.
We're probably double. You got double-digit new customers after this podcast.
Good. I love that. Hey, look, guys, we got to get together in person.
Hey, we're planning. We're trying to plan a trip here in the next few months down to Louisville.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, we got to get together.
Yeah, we need to do that.
And if I'm up there, my wife's one of her best friends. They both went to Michigan, unfortunately. She lives in Hinsdale.
Okay, not far.
45
minutes from us.
Yeah,
swing by if you need to get away.
And then they have a place in Sawyer, Michigan. I think it is. I think it's Sawyer, Michigan, on the other side of the lake. Yeah, they got a cabin there. But anyways, they're up there all the time. I'm happy to come up and
we need to set this up. I think we're going to be down. Yeah. We're going to try to do it before the end of the year, but we're going to try to get down there to Louisville here in the next few months. And I've got your number, got your contact information. We need to hook up and love for you to show us around a little bit more. We need to hook up and do dinner or something.
Would love to.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. We'll go through. Like I said, we'll go through. I mean, depends on how much time you have.
We got all the time in the world, man.
But I want to take you. I like doing past, present, and future. Right now we're doing kind of present, but we can do some past and do all the future stuff and let you guys taste the stuff that we're working on. That's awesome. In tanks that are in there or in barrels, and really share that with you and tell you what's going on to further introduce you to the brand.
That sounds awesome. I'm hearing the first ever barrel pick. I think we need to do a barrel pick.
We'd love for you to take one. You guys can do one, and we can get it set up through RNDC, Indiana. Other people do them all the time. We just sold a bunch of the barrels this summer. Last summer they were all gone. The previous summer they're all gone. This summer was a little bit soft with the craziness from all the interest rate hikes in the market. But we're good. We're coming out of it. Bill and I feel really good where we are going forward for the last 3 months and 1 week of 2023. So we're excited.
Awesome, man.
You guys come down, man. You've got to let me know. We can go to Watch Hill proper. We can go to north of Bourbon. Of course, Justin's south of Bourbon. If it's the 3 of you, if there's a bigger group, maybe not come here, but maybe come to my house and sip here and have some fun and show you what we're doing and how we do it and share that experience with oil and whiskey.
We would love to. Awesome. I was just down in Louisville, went to north of Bourbon. We know Brad Jennings. Brad
great dude. Great restaurant.
Restaurants.
Yeah.
Best cocktails around, best food around.
Hooked it up. We ordered 1 or 2 of everything on the menu. Unbelievable. So we will meet you at north of Bourbon when we are down there. And it'll be
we got a locker there. Those guys are great friends of mine. I went to LSU. My son's at LSU. And
roll Tide. Give me a Roll Tide.
They said LSU.
Their sons.
What's this?
They're chefs from New Orleans. So, no, we'd love to do it.
Right on, man.
Awesome, man.
We appreciate
it.
It's my motto every Saturday.
Did you go to Bama?
My daughter goes there.
Okay, good. Now take that back.
All right.
Look, my attorney, his daughter went there. Look, I'm good. I mean, we won last year.
No, you
My
can
son's
talk
won the
shit
game.
about him. It's fine.
Y'all had
my
Saban. Y'all had
son's going to the
Saban
game
first.
this
Y'all
fall.
had Saban first. We just got him now. So
No, I know. It's good. It's good. It's all good. Look, I mean, like, I'm good. I'm going to Baton Rouge in October and November for games. It's my son's senior year.
oh,
My
awesome.
other son's already graduated from UK. So, no, we're good. Hey, man, thanks so much.
Man, it's been a
thank you.
blast.
Thank you.
It's been a blast.
This has been a pleasure. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
We'll stay in. Well, I will get in touch let's week.
Yeah. Please do. And then why don't we see if you guys want to jump on something, maybe not for your podcast, maybe just personally. And maybe I'll send you up like 3 or 4 other things that we can taste kind of like off the record.
Would love to.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Looking
If you
forward
want
to
to do
it.
something like that,
100%.
would that be cool?
Yeah.
Like a podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we
Okay.
can do that.
Dude, all this talk
What?
about the staves, the barrels, what they're putting it in. I have 2 barrels that have been in. This is now my second home that I've lived in. It's been in both houses for a combined probably 8 years. I think we should pour something in it. It's my garage bourbon, and we bottle it. We
What kind of barrel
soak
is it?
I think one's a Whistle Pig barrel.
A full barrel?
Yeah. I'm not sure. Dave from Dave's Garfield Beverage Warehouse and Liquor Emporium hooked me up with them.
You look down inside of it and seen what's living in there?
I never have, no. We get a lot of mice, though, where I live. So,
House bourbon.
garage bourbon.
With may or may not have mice.
Couple of
Yeah,
flavors.
I'm pretty sure I don't think there'd be any.
They're sealed.
I wonder what that would taste like.
The mouse part or the
No.
garage bourbon?
The garage bourbon part of it.
We'd have to buy some bourbon and put in it.
Yeah. We would.
How did the last mixing batch go?
Good enough to
Went
drink.
well. Yeah, it went well.
It was good.
I'd say decent. Would you say?
I would give
you
it
had-
a
if
I would
you-
give it a 6.8.
I haven't had to actually try it yet.
There's
I would
some
buy
on my-
it.
there's
Well, you
some-
didn't go. You didn't go to Columbus.
There's some on my desk. You can have it if you'd like.
I need to pour some whiskey. Let's drink a little more of this. Since we've already done our whiskey review during Zay podcast,
Coming in hot.
we are fortunate enough
For what?
to have
That's a lot of buildup.
an unboxing.
Oh,
Are you guys ready?
I'm ready. What do we got?
Now, this is not a traditional unboxing per se. This is an unboxing, but the box has already been unboxed.
So
Okay.
you already sifted through it and found the good shit?
There may or may not have been something was in the box that is now
It's knife time. It's time for knives.
no
We
longer
are done with whiskey.
no longer in the box. So, Jeremiah from
Was a bullfrog.
PVK Vegas was kind enough to send us a box of things, of items. Send us a great little note, handwritten by Jeremiah.
You get to read the note?
I was surprised by the anime.
You'd be surprised at what people are into.
So we have some things to go through.
What do we got?
Let's start opening it up and see.
Everybody gets to open one.
I will open up this box first. Phil,
Why have
try
all of
and
these
open.
been opened already?
Try and open. They have not been. This main box has been opened.
It's clearly been cut. You rifled through everything.
This is feeling like a fixed blade.
Try to open the boxes. Let's see. Oh, this is.
Black Side Customs.
Oh, I'm opening it. All right.
USA, New York.
All right, one at a time.
One
This is
at a
like
time.
this
All
is like Christmas morning.
Let me go first
Right.
because it feels like
course.
it feels like a fixed blade.
Fucking youngest.
Careful.
You're like an only child that wasn't an only child.
Go ahead, Josh.
No, go ahead. No, you've already started.
No, I'm done. I'm not even interested.
Go ahead.
You've taken all the fun out of it.
No, I haven't. Everybody's waiting on you.
Okay.
Who's it from?
Blackside Customs International. And it says USA, New York,
Go ahead and
Italy.
slide this way so you can get it on the camera.
And it's got a little signed registration something here.
All right, you're not
All right.
reading.
Carbon fiber.
Blackside
Mini cleaver.
Customs.
That sucker is
Careful.
in there. Boom.
Ooh,
Damn.
ooh. I
Whoa.
like that.
Whoa.
I like that.
It's a unit.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. That's a good looking piece.
All right, you know what? This is what we're gonna do.
You're going to get the box out. That's what you're going to
Yeah.
do.
Ooh, shit.
Yard and shit out.
And it's stabby. It
Yeah.
stabs well.
Yeah, we're gonna be careful on that because my
me see
hand
that. How does
just
that handle
about got
work?
stabbed.
It's like a little guy.
But did it, though? Did the hand actually get stabbed?
It's got a good hand feel to her.
Doesn't it?
Not expecting that.
It sticks in that sheath, though.
All right, I'm next. HEA at HEA Designs on the Instagram. So we've got a, oh, that's cool. A little carbon fiber on one side. What I assume would be a little bit of maybe tie, but it's a little heavier. So maybe just stainless. Little flipper. Great blade.
Good looking knife.
Yeah, it's got a,
That's a sexy looking knife.
that's a good handle. Good feel.
Share it with
Little liner lock.
Share it with everyone.
Go ahead and check that out. Check
Can
that
I go?
out.
Can I go?
HEA Designs on Instagram.
A little difficult.
All of this brought to you by PVK Vegas.
I also have a black side custom international. Whistle one.
I like this.
Ooh.
I think I might start carrying this.
Someone's going to probably steal this from me.
How would you wear that, though?
I would fashion this and do a side draw. I would side so it
It's
doesn't
a
stick
hand-tooled wallet.
in. Ooh.
That is
Just go ahead and give that to you
yeah,
right now.
that's
'cause It's
awesome.
going to get stolen.
That's all me.
Let me see that.
It's made in, ooh. No. Easy now. You can look. Here, go ahead, get it. It's pretty cool.
That is cool. Made in America Club.
Black
Side Customs. That is nice. All right, next up. I'll check. I take this box. Modular belt buckle in red. Ooh.
A knife belt buckle.
It is a belt buckle. Black Side Customs again. This belt buckle, because of my trained eye, I can tell you, this is put together with Microtech hardware.
Ooh.
I can tell because of the way it
Because
is.
of how it is.
Ooh, wait,
Ooh, what do we,
I can't
we got a little,
can't bring that out yet. Ooh, that was a little premature.
You take the
nobody's seen that
PGS.
before, so hold on. Careful, it's liable to come open by itself. You need to work it out more.
Good grief. So we've got a, that's pretty cool. So it's a Black Side Customs belt buckle, and it's got Microtech hardware.
A little triangle
Yeah,
pyramid
the
things.
little trident things, and it comes with a tool
That
for
is
them.
cool.
That is cool. You know what? I might actually take this.
Go ahead.
This would go good with a certain outfit.
That
Mine.
would go great with
Stop.
your camo pants and your red Vans.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I'm glad you
Yep.
thought the same thing.
I knew it.
Keep my mouth shut.
Are those, like the footy pajamas where the feet are sewn into it? Are the red Vans, are they like clipped into the camo pants?
No, because I wear blue shoes with those same camo pants. So who's stupid now?
Probably the guy that's wearing blue, red shoes with camo pants, I'm assuming.
Camo pants are cool.
If you're going paintballing, or if you're a child, if you're a young boy.
Nope.
You're a girl.
I march to the beat of my own drum.
You're almost in your 50s.
Your fashion advice is lost on me.
I wish it wouldn't be.
I wish.
I really do. Camo pants at nearly 50 years old. What are you doing? Dive roll? Do you do dive rolls when you put those on in the morning? Do you do like a dive roll out of the bedroom?
In private. I do all types of SEAL moves. What's next?
It's an interesting way of diffusing your tactics.
That he diffused?
Yeah.
Yeah. Heretic knives.
We love heretic knives around here.
We really do.
Yep. That's a pin, though.
And it's a pen, which is just as cool as their knives. And for those who haven't invested in a high-end tactical pen, I would urge you to do so. Because I think all three of us have got some pretty...
We got some bitchin' pins.
pens.
We have some pins from the Karas company, as a matter of fact. We have some pins right here in the podcast and a badass holder to hold them.
The action's great.
Yes.
Cool little piece. Kind of distressed. Got a cool little belt clip on it. That's a nice piece.
You know what's cool about that pen in particular?
What's up?
Is it matches this knife.
Oh, my goodness.
It matches this knife almost as if they were made to be a pair. Almost.
As if you reached into the box early, swiped it, and took all the good shit.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So the box came in, and I said, "Oh shit, let me get all this prepared for the podcast." And when I was looking in there, I was like,
somebody was cherry.
"This,
right?
This is a Heretic Knives, and I like it. I like it a lot. I will now have that
Because heretic knives are fucking awesome.
right, and
I happen to
because
be-
you have,
I happen to be carrying one.
you happen to have Heretic Knives, and I happen to not have any. I gifted you both your first Heretic Knives.
That was a selfless act by you.
It was.
And I love it.
Why almost? I'm gonna go. This is 100% true story.
Go ahead.
I got those knives in right, and I had some deliberation on making sure that I got you both something super nice. Well, once they came in, I opened them both and I started playing with them and looking at them. I was like, damn,
Shit.
there was about longer than it should have been, probably 20 minutes of how could I spin the fact that both of y'all get to share a knife for the gift.
You're gonna keep.
I was going to keep one, and I was going to say, and I could not come up with an excuse. So you both got a knife.
I think
You can
it's
borrow
So when I saw that one, I said, that one's mine.
That's pretty sweet.
It's a cool knife.
it's awesome. I think it's a great brand. It's probably my front runner right now. Love the action on them. They're just
I
They-
am
they-
actually
they-
a Star Wars fan.
they
So
check
that
all the
works.
boxes.
That's the Mandalorian edition, in case anybody didn't know.
we did not know. That would be something that Phil and myself would not know.
Right. I do know
I
that.
was gonna go Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the pen.
Next up, we've got the Real Steel
We're done.
Solus. Real Steel Solus. So these are some other knives he threw in there. I really like the blade design on that. It's light.
A sheep's foot.
That would be a sheep's foot. That's correct. You are correct.
I am learning.
This is just a friction lock, friction folder.
Like a child. A man child.
Fine when you two act like
Good.
idiots.
This is a good knife. This is a great. I do dumb shit with my knife.
You know what that is? That's a
Body shop knife.
Yeah, you know it.
That's a body shop knife.
That's a great that's a high-end body shop knife. You pick
In
you
carbon
cut,
fiber.
You pry. That's a tool. Yeah, that's a cool knife.
We really need to get somebody to come in here and clean this studio up after we're done. This is
Yours.
the same knife. I like that.
Okay, that's right up your alley on the
It is.
colorway.
You know what they say about OD Green?
I don't actually.
What did they say?
People that like it are cool.
Is that what they say?
They say that all the time.
That's a fact.
Fucking fact.
Huh.
You know what that would look good in? You put that
In Josh's camo pants.
with that. You
some-
throw in a splash of camo pants
Oh.
and just a Just
a dollop of Red Vans.
Tell you what, you got yourself something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got
yourself a dude that you wouldn't want to fuck with.
You've got yourself,
that's what you've got. You've got yourself a dude that 91% of people wouldn't want to fuck with.
You've got yourself a rebellious adolescent boy that listens to Coldplay.
First of all, you back the last thing you said, back that on out. Because you know me enough to know
Georgia line.
Coldplay ain't fucking happening.
For you, yeah. I'm characterizing the outfit.
Hey, nobody wears camo listen to Coldplay. In the fucking history of camo pants.
When you pair camo pants with red old school Vans,
They don't listen to fucking Coldplay.
You don't think?
No, I'm telling you what, you're fucking around in a genre out there that people are listening to that wear camo pants and Vans that are not going to like it. There's a lot of them.
Let me back that up then. Sorry.
All right.
Because you're right. It's My Chemical Romance.
You've pissed off a lot of people on this podcast. I'm telling you what, you've fucked around with a group that you don't want to fuck around with.
I apologize for what I said initially, but
they probably got a lot of shit in their cargo pockets.
That's 100% My Chemical Romance. Yeah,
dude, it was nice knowing you. I'm telling you what, you don't mess around with red Vans and camo pants.
No,
that's a fucking fact.
I won't mess around with the people that wear camo pants for a living. Like if you're like, I wore Dickies for years because I was a fabricator in a shop where I fabricated things, right?
Well, you wore Jinkos too, but you didn't.
I was a
Jinko.
I was a skateboarder. You just.
It was an inline rollerblader.
It was cool at the time. It was 1991. Okay.
That's a little tidbit that I did not know about.
Oh. There's
stuttering bad.
Oh, there's nothing you could say about it. I could soul slide like nobody's business. That was the peak of aggressive inline skating. I was fucking 12, 13
Did you say
years
aggressive inline skating?
Oh, yeah.
He still does it to this
There's
day.
inline skating and there's aggressive inline skating.
Yeah,
Hell
so you
yeah.
got grind plates and the small wheels in the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Phil's going to throw that on me like I was the only one that did it. Our fucking yard was a skate park. Okay.
No, I wouldn't say skate park.
It was a collection of like random
rollerblade.
Anyway, we're getting way off track here. Okay?
I heard
I
heard a little bit of tidbit that we've rolled past.
This is a huge diversion.
It is a diversion, but that's what everybody's got their skill.
What is yours? What is yours that,
I
that
heard
requires wearing camo pants?
I heard.
What are you doing that you can't have anybody see your legs? Think about how how contradictory that is. Camo pants that you use for camouflage,
No,
so you cannot
it's
see
a fashion statement only.
paired with bright red fucking shoes.
It's like, oh shit, that looks good.
Do you know how ridiculous that is?
It's not ridiculous.
If you really stop and think about it, it is.
This is
I'm
how.
trying to think of something to compare it to, but
Would
I
you?
can't.
You wanted to hear
Because
something?
if I had to,
you
want
to hear something as ridiculous?
Yes.
You getting kicked in the chest by a horse, but then also going back and then getting stepped on by
I
a
was
horse.
a young boy.
First of all,
I was a child.
if you get kicked by
I
a
was a
horse,
fucking-
don't fuck with horses anymore.
I was a child.
No more horses.
I was a child, Josh. I was a child. You learn.
Did the step on or the kick come first?
The kick. I think the kick came first.
The kick would make me never want to be around horses. Ever. If I had my camo pants on.
Probably wouldn't have even seen you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the red Vans probably would have scared it.
Again, thanks to Bob from 4Gate Whiskey. I'm sure he's going to love this portion.
Yeah, it's ended stellar.
Yeah, we can cut the whole tail end of this out.
Well, why would we, though? Remember, you can keep up with 4Gate Whiskey by following them on Instagram at 4Gate Whiskey. Thanks for listening to Oil and Whiskey with the Roadster Shop, an Ironclad original. If you like the show, be sure to leave us a rating or review, send us a comment, send us a guest recommendation, slide into our DM, send us whatever you would like to send us. We'll see you again next week.